Good afternoon, and welcome again to Wednesday night Bible study here. Again, we're broadcasting a few miles away from Beulah Baptist Church this afternoon. Again, thank you for joining in with us. Sorry about being a few minutes late this afternoon. But again, let me continue to thank you all those who continue to thank you for all your prayers and all your well wishes. Thank you so very, very much. I talked to so many of you over the last few days, and again, had prayer with so many of you over the last few days. And again, my heart is always leaping and full of joy when I hear and talk to you. And again, my wish is that the God continue to bless you. And we will be back together real soon. You know, and somebody asked me when. Whenever God tells us so, whenever God says so, then we'll be back together. Let me just do a few announcements this afternoon. First, I want to continue to always say thank you for all those who continue to send in and give your tithes and your offering. I can't tell you enough the dedication that the Beulahnites have, and for all our friends who support us. For those, again, who continue or want to send in your tithes and your offering, you always can mail them in at 3100 25th Street right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Again, that's 3100 25th Street, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So many of you all been coming, just dropping your tithes and offering it off when you're on your way to your essential destination. But again, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. I often say that those people who want to give, going to give, and those who don't want to give, they're not going to give anyway. And in times of need, this is when I want to give more. I want to give more so I can help those who do not have. And mentioning those who do not have, again, let me thank the Beulahnites and our church, along with the Westside Action Committee and Miracle Valley Committee, those who continue to give out the boxes. We gave out over 120 boxes again this past Monday. So again, let me thank all of those who came out and gave. Cars were still lined up. There are so many people in our neighborhood, so many members, even in our church, that have been affected by the virus, who are in need. And again, if you or your family are in need, please call us. Call and leave your message at the church, 205-758-9560, and we're going to do all we can to try to assist you any way we can. We may not be able to do all that we would want to do, but we're going to sure do all that we can do. Again, so just call and leave your name and number, 205-758-9560, for those who may have been affected by the virus, and we're going to do our best to help you any way we can. You can also email us at BeulahBaptist1923@gmail.com. Again, BeulahBaptist1923@gmail.com. I'm real excited again about our Sunday service. This coming Sunday, we will be preaching again this particular Sunday. This is, most people know, Easter Sunday, and it's the great resurrection morning. This particular Sunday morning that's coming up, we'll not only be on Facebook and not only on YouTube, but at 9 a.m., and that's when we'll be coming on the air. We'll also be on 92.9, that's WTUG, and 105.1 The Block. So make sure, for those who can't watch us on YouTube and those who can't watch us on Facebook, let them turn on the radio, pass the word. Again, turn your radio to 92.9 or 105.1 The Block. Again, we'll be broadcasting on those two stations, as well as on YouTube and on Facebook. And again, thank all the many, many viewers who always click and let us know they are viewing us on our Facebook and our YouTube page. I want to do some our condolences and go out to Barbara Bates, her sister, and also to Deacon Bates, her wife. Before I get into the slides tonight, and I don't have a lot of slides tonight, I do want to continue to talk about the virus, the coronavirus. I do want to talk about it lately. We understand that a majority of those that are being affected by the virus is African Americans. They're blacks. In some cities, New York City, Chicago, Louisiana, at least 70 or 75% of those who are dying are African Americans. And again, and that's because of several reasons, and not something that just didn't happen overnight. But it teaches us the importance of good health. As I often say, we got to learn how to take better care of ourselves. We got to eat better. This is, I often say, the temple of God. And there are a lot of things that we got to do, and we got to do a whole lot better. We got to start eating better. We got to start exercising. And even for those who may be quarantined or in shelter right now, I encourage you to get up and move about in your house, do some exercise, and get out and walk. You can walk by yourself or still practice social distancing. But go out and do some exercise, and let's eat right, and let's take care better of ourselves. Our body is the only temple of the Lord that we have. And he gives us just one body, and we all have just one temple, and we got to do a much better job of taking care of it. Because if it's not the coronavirus, there's going to be other viruses that's coming on. So we got to prepare ourselves. We got to build up our immune system. Again, we got to eat right, sleep right, and we got to exercise and do all those things that's necessary so that, again, we can be good and healthy and pleasing in the sight of the Lord. Also, in terms of social distancing, I do want to say that too many of us are doing that. Too many of us are still partying. Too many of us are still having barbecues. Too many of us are still having social gatherings. Again, we need to make sure we stay apart from each other. Do what the health authorities tell us to do. If we're going to get out of this situation, get out of it soon, then we're going to have to do of us. So again, you know, I know we want to get back to the barbecuing and partying and ball game, but for right now, we need to be sheltered in place, and we need to keep our distance one from another. Again, we're doing all that so that we can be safe. Again, I know you're listening. I know you're going to do that. But that was on my heart to mention that to you once again. When you look at those statistics, they are startling, and it's incredible the number of blacks again that's being affected by this virus. And again, there are going to be a lot of other viruses come along. So once again, we need to make sure that we're prepared and do all we can in terms of our own body. So with that said, again, we're going to get into our slides tonight. Again, people often ask the question, is the Lord trying to tell us something? Is the Lord trying to tell us something? People ask the question, is the Lord trying to show us something? Tell us something, show us something. The answer is no to all of them. The Lord is not trying to show us anything. The Lord is not trying to tell us anything. When it comes down to the Lord, he doesn't have to try to do anything. We have to try, but the Lord does not have to try to do anything. Whatever is the will of the Lord, it shall be done. So when I ask the question again, Pastor Gay, the Lord trying to get our attention? No. The Lord is not trying to get our attention. When the Lord wants to get your attention, believe me, he's going to get your attention. Again, like I so often say, when people say, I'm running from the Lord, how are you going to run from the Lord when he's everywhere? When you get there, he's already there. So we can't run from the Lord. The Lord is not trying to tell us nothing. The Lord is not trying to show us nothing. When the Lord gets ready to do his will shall be done. We're going through a storm right now. The virus is sort of like a storm. And with so many storms, they are unpredictable. But if one fly inside of a hurricane, there's always peace right there in the center of the storm. After this storm, after the virus, there's going to be some peace. You see, the Lord knows what he's doing. The virus was a surprise to us, but it was not a surprise to the Lord. See, the Lord knows everything. He knows what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. He knows what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow. So although it was a surprise to us, the virus was not a surprise to the Lord. This virus, it will shape many views about the power of God. You see, the Lord does not have to drop a bomb. He don't have to shoot not one shot. All he has to do is wave his hands. The Lord is powerful. In fact, he has all power in the palm of his hands. So many things we don't understand about the Lord, and we're not supposed to understand about the power of God. Many who have not believed in a higher power will believe. I talked to a young lady the other day, and she said, Pastor Gabe, when all of this is over, I'm going to be the first one to get myself back in church. But I want to tell you, it shouldn't take a virus to get you back into church. The church, number one, is in your heart. But you ought to already be worshiping the Lord. It shouldn't have to take a virus for you to worship the Lord. You see, but many who have not believed will be believing in a higher power. Another lady called me and said, Pastor Gabe, my son and my daughter hadn't been reading the Bible. Now they're reading the Bible day in and day out. Well, we already been reading the Bible, but God's word is the only weapon that we have to fight against the evilness of this world. And it shouldn't have to take tragic events. And I often say sometimes it's sad, but the Lord had to put us on our back just to put us on the right track. So many who have not believed in a higher power will believe. But if that's what it takes for those to believe, then that's what it takes for those to believe. God can work through our suffering to accomplish his purpose in life. God has a funny way to getting people to do what they should have already been doing. Sometimes he uses the rod of correction. In the Bible, it often speaks of sparing the rod, spoiling the child. And when we was growing up, our parents used to often say that when we would often get whippings. And they would often tell us, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Now, I never quite understood that, but I always was suffering with that rod of correction. But just like our parents, the Lord uses his rod of correction to get us to do some things according to his purpose. And we do know that all things work together for good for them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. All things work together for good to them that love God. And I think the key right there is to them that love God. People often use the quote, and they often quote from the book of Chronicles when they used to say, if my people who are called by my name, the key to that is my people. A lot of people who say they are God's people are really not God's people. Although we honor him with our lips, our heart is far, far from him. So we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his great purpose. seeing God and good in the midst of tragedy. There's some goodness in everything. And we have to be, as people, be able to see the good even in the midst of what we think and consider to be bad. We have to be able to see the good even in the midst of when we think that there is tragedy. When one looks at the great book of Job, and Job lost everything he had. Job lost more than any other person in the Bible other than the Lord. After Job had lost all that he lost his whole family. He lost all of his whole farm, all of his animals, all of his maid and manservant. He lost it all. But the Bible says, then Job arose and he ripped and rent his mantle. He shaved his head as a form of mourning. And he fell down to the ground and he worshiped. And Job said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. What those verses really mean is that Job learned how to give God's praise in the midst of triumph, in the midst of trials and tribulation. In the midst of tragedy, he still learned to give God some praise. You see, we don't praise him because of what we have. We praise him because of who he is. And I often say this, that we have to praise him not only in times of good, but boy, we have to also praise him when times in our mind are bad. And Job gives the perfect example of that. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he had prayed for his friends. His friends also came and tried to tell him all the things that were going wrong in his life. It's interesting that some folks appear to know more what's going on in your own life than they know what's going on in their own life. But the Lord gave Job twice. You see, you have to read the end of the story. You see, it ain't how one begins and how one ends. But in the end, when you read the end of the story of Job, although in the beginning Job lost all that he had, but in the end, the Lord gave him twice as much as he had before. And the reason the Lord did that is because Job was faithful. And Job did not lose his faith in the Lord. And regardless of what's going on in our lives, how bad it may seem, how dark the night may seem, we can't lose our faith in God. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she-asses. You see, the Lord knows. I love about the Lord knows what's best, even we don't know what's best. There have been in my personal life, I thought I wanted this, and I thought I wanted that, and I thought this would make me happy, and I thought that would make me happy. And sometimes I didn't get what I wanted to get. And oh, how disappointed I was. But as time went on, I realized that me not getting that was the best thing that ever happened to me. For the Lord knows what's best even when we don't know what's best. Sometimes we're all at the crossroads. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Do I go another way? But I always tell people, entreat the Lord. I always ask the Lord for direction. Ask the Lord always to guide always lead and guide me, not just part of the way, but guide me all of the way. We never know what the Lord has for us. And just because you start off one way don't mean you're going to end up that same way. I often talk about something called favor. And when one has the favor of God, I don't care what stumbling blocks people put in your path, when you got the favor of God. I preached Sunday about David, and regardless of what people tried to do, whether it was his own family or whether it was Saul, he had the favor of God. I often think about the man by the name of Joseph. And the Lord often, when one reads the story of Joseph, whatever condition Joseph was in, the Bible says Joseph had favor. And favor is not fair. Joseph went from the pit, jealousy of his own brothers. He went from the pit to the prison. But you got to again read the end of the story. He ended up in the palace. We never know what the Lord has for us. I may not know where the Lord leads me, but where do I know my God? The Lord does have a way of getting all of our attention. And he don't have to try to get our attention. He has a way of getting our attention. And when we least expect it, when you think about God, let's look at what happened to Nebuchadnezzar, great Babylonian king. Used Nebuchadnezzar to straighten out the children of Israel with out of God. And one thing about the Lord, when he gave the 10 commandments, all of them was and is important. But one really was dear to his heart, and that thou shalt not have God. The children of Israel had strayed away from the Lord. And the Lord had a way of getting their attention. He can use anything he wants to get your attention. He used a Babylonian king to straighten out the children of Israel. They went into captivity for some 70 years. And they went into captivity because of worshiping an idol god. The strange thing that happened to them, after being in captivity for all of those years, when they did come out, they may have had a lot of problems, but until this day, worshiping the idol God was not that problem. See, God uses what he has to get us to do what he wants us to do. And I'm going to say that again. God uses what he has to get us to do what he wants us to do. If he has to use the coronavirus to get us to eat better, to exercise more, to take better care of ourselves, he's going to use whatever he has to get us to do what he wants. And for the young lady who told me that when this is all over, I'm going to be the first person to make my way back to the church house, God uses what he has. It takes to get you to worship and serve him, then he's going to use this to get you to come to worship and to serve. Even when times appear to be bad, we all need to know that God is still there. In the midst of all what's going on in all of our lives, and what's going on, virus affects all of us. And although it appears to be bad, and although there's a lot of suffering, and there's a lot of dying, God is still there. He's the same God that was with us before the virus appeared, and he's the same God right now. And when all this is over, he'll still be the same God. Somebody said, well, Pastor Gabe, when do you think this is going to be over? Well, I'm so smart, I don't even know the answer. But what I do know, it's going to be over when God says over. Not when the president says over. Not when the governor says it's over. Not when local politicians say it's over. Not when the rabbis, the bishops, the prophets, and the preachers say it's over. It's going to be over when God says it's over. Because at the end of the day, God is still in charge. And he's still in charge of all of our lives. You see, sometimes it's not the journey, but the destination that matters. When we all get through with what's going on, so many of us will have a testimony. Oh, and what a testimony we will have. And there's nothing wrong with a testimony where the Lord has brought all of us from. So sometimes it's not the journey, but it's the destination that matters. And the destination is where the Lord is taking us to. Sometimes we say, why? Why all these things are happening? Why all these things are happening to me? But the question may not be why. The question may be, why not? When Habakkuk went to the Lord, and he asked the Lord to say the people are so evil. And he asked the Lord, he said, Lord, I want you to send a revival. But the Lord didn't send a revival, he sent the Assyrians. You see, I heard T.D. Jakes say something the other day. When people try to tell the Lord what to do and make plans for the Lord, he said, if you want to make the Lord smile, you just tell the Lord what you're about to do and what plans you have. You see, God has all the plans. And when we may ask for a revival, we may ask for peace. The Lord may send the coronavirus, but he's still in charge. For he knew the virus was coming, and he allowed it to come for a reason. A lot of times, and I'm often reminded how they used to sing a song, the things we don't understand, but we'll understand it better, as they say, by and by. But he allowed it to come for a reason. And we may not understand the reason. It's not our job to understand God, but it's our job to believe in God. I often say the same thing about the Bible. So many people say, I don't understand this and I don't understand that about the Bible. But the Bible is not a book for us just to understand. The Bible is a book for us to believe. For you see, the virgin birth was so unbelievable that the Bible said if you just could believe, the death and burial and especially the resurrection of Christ was so unbelievable that if you could just believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that he died and rose again, he said you can be saved. So again, when it comes to God, it's not for us to understand God. It's our job to believe in God. Even when we don't understand, and even in the midst of all of our suffering, God is still a good God. And he's still good all the time. Let me say that one more time. Even in the midst of all of our tragedy, even in the midst of all of our suffering, even in the midst of all the things that's going on all around us, God is still a good God, and he's still good all the time. Let me again thank you so much for watching us this afternoon. And again, as I always say, that my blessings is continue upon you and your family. That the Lord continue to bless you in a very special way. Continue to cover your family with the blood of the Lamb and keep you safe from all hurt, harm, or danger. And for whatever you do and wherever you go, take God in your life and continue to remember that God is still good and God is still in charge of my life. God bless you this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and God keep you is my prayer. For those who would like to subscribe and share this video, please do so. Click, share. Thank you so very much. God bless you, and God keep you is my prayer.